1994 S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing is ready to take off. 800 horsepower machines that fly. Piloted by guys with the right stuff. They are after the True Value Pro Series Championship. Defending Class A champ Scott Taylor won 5 races last year, but Walker Evans, Dave Hockers, and newcomer Scott Douglas have their sights set on the Class 8 crown. The Chevy Thunder of Jack Flannery dominated Class 4, but if he looks over his shoulder, he sees Jeff Dorr, Kevin Probst, and Greg Gerlach gunning for him. So, we better...
Let's get ready to rumble!
ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, welcomes you to the Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, for the opening round of the 1994 S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing. Today, it's the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. Race conditions absolutely perfect. If you've been with us the last 2 years at Lake Geneva, you know the weather gods have plagued us, but today, they are cooperating. Now let's take a look at this wonderful layout at Lake Geneva, Ivan.
Well, Marty, this is one of the trickiest tracks we have, in that we have a long, high-speed straightaway into a real sharp right-hand corner here. You can see it's slick, and you can see exactly what happens if these guys come in too hot. Back around the backside gets loose and gnarly, hard to pass, big right-hand corners, and then we have the front section that's a transition from dirt to asphalt and then back in the dirt again. You can see what happens right here when the guys get a little too hot coming into this corner. This is Walker Evans too hot.
That's all action from last year's race, and we're getting ready for action in 1994, kicking off the S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing. Now, this is how you score points in the True Value Pro Series. First place is worth 20, second 16, third 14, fourth 12, and fifth place 11. Now, each time during the course of the season, we put Ivan to the test of taking us behind the scenes and giving us some of the insights that has made him one of the great drivers in off-road racing. Here's today's tire tip.
One of the most important factors here in Lake Geneva has always been tire choice. All these teams and drivers have got to figure out what tire are we going to use. We're going to start off on asphalt. You're going to jump right into the dust and dirt. First corner is going to be muddy. Could be loamy. You get off in the farmer's field, no telling what you might need there. 3 tires. If it's going to be dry, they're going to use this tire right here. Closed up pattern, get down. This will get them through that hard surface and get right down and give you a good drive. Good for the asphalt. Loamy, loose soil, this would be the one right here. A little more void area. A little better drive off this one. But if it's muddy, they've got to go to the mud tire. Lots of void. Get down to that hard soil. Dig. A lot of drive off here. If you got 800 horsepower and you don't get it down to the ground, believe me, you're not going to win here at Lake Geneva.
Well, as we get ready, as the trucks pull out for the manufacturer's challenge, I want to put you on the spot. Which tire would you pick if you're driving?
Well, I tell you, for this terrain, starting the asphalt the way it looks to me, I'd choose the all-terrain. The one in the center I was talking about. Give me plenty of drive off the asphalt. I want to get off the asphalt.
So as you see the view from our 4 in-car cameras, we get ready for the manufacturer's challenge. Now, this is Class 4, 8, and 3, Ivan.
These are production pickups, Marty. 2 or 4-wheel drive. Take your pick, either one. Must conform to the class rules, and you must have competed in one of the other races.
Now, Chevrolet starting field has Jack Flannery. He'll try and make it a double after coming off with a Class 4 win, and Scott Taylor will be back in his Ford Rough Rider with the number 800 on the side. Walker Evans, who finished second to Scott Taylor in Class 8, will be looking for his 119th career win. Kevin Probst will also be in this starting field. They've got the 4-wheel drive capability back in his Chevrolet. And Scott Douglas, impressive in his 3rd place finish in Class 8, will try and take the victory home for Dodge as well. And Jerry Bundy, one of 2 of the 58-year-old racers competing in this championship round, Jimmy Crowder being the other one, as he comes all the way from Tallahassee, Florida. The rest of the starting field, and boy, is this a big field. 19 heavy metal trucks ready to take part in this manufacturer's challenge.
Marty, I think I'd want to be in one of the 4-wheel drives and on the front of the pack if I could. This is a big, tough field.
Get ready. Turn 1 is going to be exciting. The green flag flies. Look at Flannery on the left side of the screen. My, what a cannon shot he is.
Tremendous acceleration on that truck.
There is Kevin Probst. Oh, and Probst collects the tire and parks the side of the corner. And, oh no, another spill right behind it, and that is Jimmy Crowder. The dust just so thick that he never saw it, Ivan.
He did never see it. I don't believe he ever got a chance to even maneuver for that one.
Oh, does that take a toll on that truck? Now, there is the contact, and watch what happens. As
See the dust back here, Marty? Now, whenever Jimmy comes through, he never see, boom, never saw the tire.
Never sees the marker on the course, and boy, does he go over. So Jimmy Crowder will wait and see for the report, make sure that he is okay. Everybody else got through this mess, but they roll Jimmy over. He is definitely going to be out of this race, but the word is he is okay. So that's the best news of all. Back up front, there's Jack Flannery. He is pulling away from Jeff Dorr and Kevin Probst. Haven't heard much about Jeff Dorr. He did not do all that well in the Class 4 race, but here he is doing very well. As we look out from Kevin Probst in third place, you can see Dorr right in front of him, kicking a little mud up.
Typically, Jeff's a very tough competitor. I expect him to do very well.
Well, Dorr won here last year in the Class 4 race, and then finished 5th in the Heavy Metal Manufacturers Production Challenge. So Flannery, Dorr, Probst, Evans, and Taylor. There you see them, 1st through 5th.
And the first three vehicles are four-wheel drive, Marty. That's where it pays off. You get all four of those wheels.
Well, and it's one of the reasons that this race is not included in the points championship, because it's no secret that the four-wheel drive does have a bit of an advantage on some of these courses.
Well, they really do, but it depends on what happens. Later on in the race, you'll see that as it drives out, the two-wheel drives become more competitive.
On board here with Scott Taylor as he is coming down. But look at the great crowd. The last 2 years, this event has been hammered by rain. And this year, the sun finally comes out, and this is the view out the back of Walker Evans' truck. And again, you can see the crowd in the full pit lane. I mean, it has been a spectacular event for Kevin Dawson, the promoter here at Lake Geneva, and everybody having a great time.
Listen to Walker's motor. You can hear him rev the motor, pull the motor down, trying to get some bite on that dirt. That's what you have to do with the two-wheel drives, Marty. Try and get down and try and get those two tires biting, and that's what Walker's doing right now.
And you can see that is Scott Taylor in the distance trying to reel in Walker Evans.
Now, as this track dries out, I think we're going to see the two-wheel drive pull up.
Wait a minute, Walker's pulling over. Walker Evans has pulled off the race course. And there is the external view. So Walker Evans having a problem with his Dodge, and he will not be a factor in this Manufacturers Production Challenge.
All the way from Riverside, California. Walker's not going to be able to finish.
There is Scott Taylor. He is now in 4th place. And he, too, lumbering through this infield section. Back to the battle for 2nd place. That is Jeff Dorr right in front of Kevin Probst. It's, again, Ford leading a Chevy at this point. Let's go on board. Sit back. We'll just let you ride along.
Something broke.
Look at the way the camera is askew. I think you're right, Ivan. Take a look. And yes, this is the view from the outside.
Some sort of suspension component broke right there. Spindle looks like they, Marty.
So Kevin Probst is out of this race, and that means Jack Flannery has only Jeff Dorr to really worry about at this point, and there is the margin. You can see Dorr just coming into view, and Flannery is definitely making a statement here, isn't he, Ivan?
He really is. He's been strong over the years, and he just gets stronger and stronger. I know they've done a lot of testing back over the winter, and boy, I tell you what, he's real serious. If
you're going to beat Jack Flannery, you better go find some more horsepower. There is 3rd place. That is Scott Taylor. Stay with us. We'll be back with the conclusion of the Manufacturers Challenge right after this. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson is on pit lane, and that is your leader here in the Manufacturers Challenge at the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. That is Jack Flannery, and there's the margin to 2nd place. We're still waiting to see Jeff Dorr in 2nd.
He has got a tremendous lead. Extremely tough this year. He's always tough, but this year's even tougher.
All right, we're on board with Jack. Take us through it. What do you see that you really like about this truck?
Well, this truck actually pulls so well through the corners. As I mentioned before, off the jumps, it's just absolutely fantastic. I've never seen a truck any better. So smooth. He doesn't fight the steering wheel, making these hard corners. Gears down, mashes the throttle. Beautiful. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Let's just listen for a second. Oh, No, Jeff Dorr is out of the race. And when I said we were going to listen for a second, I was right. Holy smokes, Jeff Dorr, doing so well, is now out of this race. So Scott Taylor will now move up into second place. So Taylor getting around some slower traffic at this point on the race course, but he has absolutely no chance of catching Jack Flannery unless Jack brakes.
Yeah, that's the only way he's going to catch him. Get too much traffic. It's dried out like we talked about, as we can see from the dust, but it's just no way he's going to catch Jack.
Back on board with Scott Taylor.
Marty, watch the interesting way that Scott Taylor's got to fight this truck. He's got to throw the tail of the truck around, slide it around the corners, where Jack Flannery, if you notice, he can drive his more. Watch his hands. Watch Scotty's hands here.
Yeah, even there, fishtailing, and that's the straightaway portion down the back straight.
That's right, because he's only got those two wheels driving.
Now, that is Greg Gerlach in front of Jack Flannery, and to give you an idea how dominant Flannery is, Gerlach is running in fourth place. He's almost ready to put him down a lap.
That is amazing. The Jack Flannery's truck is so good. Stays on the ground is what it's all about.
Taylor finally gets around Jack Heidman, and now tries desperately, and I think in vain, to reel in the very fast Jack Flannery. Boy, there it is. Perfect example of what you're talking about. The back end just comes around with two-wheel drive, and here Jack Flannery with four-wheel drive powering through. Is it going to come to a point where, as we have one lap to go in the race, where everybody will have to run four-wheel drive if they want to have a chance in this? Or
I sincerely believe so, unless, Marty, we get the rougher tracks. As long as they're smooth like this, relatively smooth, these four-wheel drives are going to have an advantage.
So Jack Flannery, with about a half a lap to go, has gotten around fourth place. Greg Gerlach put him a lap down. Here is Scott Taylor doing everything that he can in his Ford, but the two-wheel drive differential, just the big difference in this race today.
The other difference you have, the payoff is that Scott Taylor's two-wheel drives are lighter. Jack Flannery's carried all the weight up front, and typically that's going to hurt you on a dry track.
So Flannery, with about one more turn to go after this, will be looking at the checkered flag. Now remember, no points are involved in this in the Pro Series Championship. This is, as we said, the Manufacturer's Challenge. It's an opportunity for everybody to get out there and compete on the same track. For the fans love it. The racers enjoy it. Jack Flannery's certainly going to love it because he's taking the checkered flag for the win here at the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. Scott Taylor will finish second, and Brian Frankenberg comes across the line third. Stay with us when we come. Well, here are the final results from the Manufacturer's Challenge. Jack Flannery, Scott Taylor, Brian Frankenberg in the top three positions. Jeff St. Peter, Greg Gerlach round out the top five. So that's going to do it for us from Lake Geneva Raceway today. A kiss from wife Connie to the winner, Jack Flannery. For Rick Johnson and Ivan Stewart, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for watching. Look out, Jack, you're going to get a bath before you ever get out of the truck. So long for now. Series of off-road racing. Today we're in Anago, Wisconsin for the Chevrolet Off-Road Championship. Let's take a look at the race conditions, and the bottom of the screen's the important factor. There are thunderstorms in the area. Hopefully they may skirt us, but it doesn't look good right now. Let's take a look at this course layout, Ivan.
Well, Marty, as you can see, we're running an existing sprint car track. We start on the back straightaway, down the front side, around a big sweeper, into the Moco section. Lots of passing down here. As you can see, there's either guys get through here well or they don't. Lots of action. Back around the backside, up a hill, and as you know, we've had a lot of action in this area.
Yeah, turn 4 right here. Watch what happens to Jeff Dorr. You get offline, and you are in big, big trouble here at Anago, Wisconsin, the Langlade County Fairgrounds. So now we're getting ready for the Manufacturer's Production Challenge. That's where we bring all the two-wheel and four-wheel drive trucks back together for a showdown. No points, just bragging rights. And as far as the two-wheel drive, the Class 8 vehicles, well, they've got to find every advantage they can. And Ivan Stewart has the latest developments in Class 8. Ivan?
In all forms of racing, technology is continually changing. No different right here in truck racing. Let me show you what I mean. This is the inside of Scott Taylor's truck. As you can see, it's basically built for the driver. There's nothing else in here. Gauges, shifter, and that's it. All the powertrain engine is forward to the firewall. Now let me show you the inside of Scott Douglas's big Dodge T300. If you notice, the inside of the driver's compartment is much, much busier. They use a drive shaft off of the engine to power the alternator, the power steering pump, and the oil pump. Several things this does. It makes the engine much cleaner, plus it gets the weight of all these components off the front of the truck, makes it fly a lot better. It's not near as hard on the front end. Second advantage is real quick and easy to change a motor. You don't have to take all these components off. Same exact system Walker Evans has on his trucks, and that's one of the reasons he was able to make that real quick engine change earlier today.
All right, thanks, Ivan, for the inside information. And now we're getting ready for the showdown, as this is a huge field in the Manufacturer's Production Challenge. And, Ivan, what's it all about?
Marty, production pickups, two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, must conform to class rules and must have competed in a class race.
If they don't run earlier, they can't run now. The Chevrolet starting field, Walker Evans, can he make it a double? He won Class 8. He'll be in the Dodge. Jack Flannery also looking for a double opportunity. He won Class 4. He'll be in the Chevrolet. Scott Douglas in the 807. That's another of the Dodge contingent. You saw how the new technology is being utilized in his truck. Greg Gerlach, he's in a 93 Dodge. He'll be in the number 402. Scott Taylor, boy, he would love to salvage something from what has otherwise been a dismal weekend for him. And Dave Hockers, he's another of the Ford contingent. He'll be in the 802. And Jamie Flannery, who had a good, strong performance in Class 8, will find himself driving in the 815. And here's the rest of the starting field. And as we get ready for this race, who do you like? Because I'll tell you what, Walker Evans is starting back in the pack, and so is Jack Flannery.
Well, I'll tell you, the guys, especially with the Class 8s in the back of this field, are going to really going to have to work their work cut out for them, Marty.
This is a huge field coming now down towards and getting the green flag early, as we'll see how they sort things out in front of this huge crowd at Anago. Not a seat available in the grandstands. You're on board right now with Kevin Probst, and oh no, Hocker spins it around, and luckily everybody gets through. Look at the banging going on as they're into the rhythm section.
Whoa, and that's Jed Flannery just spinning right there, and then Jamie Flannery just bumped it.
Oh, so the brothers get together. I'm sure they're not going to be too happy with each other, but it looks like they'll both get back underway, but it'll take away their chance of winning. On board now with Scott Douglas. You're looking out the back of his Dodge and now out the front of the Ford of Scott Taylor. And there is Jack Flannery in front of him, and there's Walker Evans.
Boy, what traffic. You can see exactly what these guys are going through. They're trying to keep the truck straight. They're trying to maneuver the truck, miss these tires, and you can see they're just a tremendous amount of traffic.
There's Walker Evans on the left-hand portion of the screen. He's sideways, and ooh! And he gets straightened out thanks to Scott Taylor.
You got a good bump there. Luckily it came at the right time.
Here is the way the field summary looks right now. Gerald Foster in front, Scott Douglas in second, Brian Frankenberg in third, Greg Gerlach fourth, and on that, look at where Walker Evans is now in 10th, Flannery's in 8th. This is going to be interesting to watch these guys try and work their way through. There is Kevin Probst also side by side with Flannery.
Typically what we've seen, Marty, is in this particular race, we see the four-wheel drive jump out front, and eventually as the track dries out, here comes the Class 8s. Oh, and there's Kevin Probst. He got a problem again.
Probst is slowing down, so it looks like the problems that plagued him in Class 4 have returned here in the Manufacturer's Production Challenge. This is the battle for the lead. Gerald Foster trying to hold off Scott Douglas and doing a good job.
Now remember, Gerald Foster's four-wheel drive. Watch when he gets his truck straight, he'll accelerate and probably pull away from Scott Douglas. But as it dries out, Scott Douglas should be getting an advantage.
This action going on in turns 4 and 5. This will bring him up to turn 6, which puts you back onto the oval portion of the dirt track here. Oh, and Foster getting a little wide. Oh, very wide.
Way too wide. Yeah, he really screwed that up. It's wet right back in there, Marty.
Tapped Scott Douglas, but Douglas was able to get by, so now your new leader for the first time, Scott Douglas, in only his second S.O.D.A race. He has tons of experience out west in desert racing, but doing very well here.
The problem he's going to have is still awfully wet, still awfully slick. He's four-wheel drive, and here comes Jack Flannery.
Flannery on the outside of the corner has moved up. There's first, second. Flannery trying to move into third right there and may be able to take Foster if he can get inside. No, he'll fall into third place. But so far, Flannery making a great move towards the front here, finding himself in third, and here's where the horsepower, he is going to take over second.
He has really got the horsepower. He knows exactly how to use it and where to use it.
Well, stay with us. We'll show you the exciting conclusion of the Manufacturer's Production Challenge here, the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, Rick Johnson back with you at the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships. You're looking out the back of Scott Douglas's Dodge, and that is Jack Flannery. He got a little wide. Can he make the pass? Now we're looking out the front, and yes, Flannery is by.
What's happened, Marty, is the track is staying so wet that big four-wheel drive is getting an advantage. Watch him pull out of the corner here. Whoop.
Whoa! Flannery gets high for a change, so he slides through, but, oh, and they touch. They're into each other. So the contact made, and look at Flannery as he recovers quicker than Scott Douglas.
Unbelievable, the acceleration that Jack Flannery's got in that big Chevrolet.
So there is Flannery now, the new leader, and Douglas looks, does he have a problem?
Well, I don't think so. To be honest, Marty, I think that Scott Douglas is just a little bit intimidated by the fact that these guys are going so fast here on these short tracks, and he's just not quite set up well.
There is Walker Evans trying to get around Frankenberg, and does it. Now you're looking out the back of Walker's truck. He is now fourth, moving up through this field. Can he catch Jack Flannery? Who knows? It seems like no one has been able to catch Jack Flannery through the rhythm section.
Well, if anybody can do it, it'll be Walker Evans, I'll tell you that.
Look at the rooster tail. If this was hydroplane racing, you'd be seeing water spray up that high. Here comes Frankenberg back on the inside of Walker Evans. So there, that two-wheel, four-wheel drive situation again.
And that's Steve Kelly back there. I think it depends a lot on where these guys are actually on the track. In the wet, like I say, the four right.
Oh, and they touch as they come through, and Frankenberg gets a little sideways. Walker Evans takes fourth place back again.
Anytime you notice these guys getting sideways, you'll notice that Walker Evans really aware of that. He keeps the truck straight and he just drives away.
And now he has just gotten past Gerald Foster for third as Walker Evans is making his move. And oh no, Scott Douglas, who was running second, is now out of the race. No smoke, don't know what the problem is. This is Jack Flannery, and he's got problems. Now that's Jeff Dorr, who has had his own problems, and there's Walker Evans. So this is a battle for the lead. Walker Evans is going to get past Jack Flannery, and there it is. You're on board with Walker.
Well, I tell you what, Marty, we haven't seen Jack Flannery have a problem in a long, long time.
So Flannery finds himself in second place for the first time this season on ESPN, and Walker Evans on his way perhaps to a double. Remember, this is a motor that they literally installed just a few hours before the start of racing action today.
I've always been impressed with Walker Evans. You watch now, he's got a lead. He's got a big lead. He'll still stay on the throttle. He loves to drive this big Dodge and show off what it'll do, show the fans what it'll do.
Rick Johnson is caught up with Jack Flannery's crew chief.
Kevin, what happened? Jack was running strong and all of a sudden he slowed down. We got belts came off on the truck. We're overheated also.
So we now know what happened to Jack Flannery. This is the battle for fifth. We're on the final lap. That is Chad Schluter trying to hold off Scott Taylor. So Taylor's day is still not going to end on a bright note. He does get past Schluter, but he is not going to win this race.
Well, what's happening, Marty, as the track dries out a little bit, he's able to get by these guys.
Back on board, looking out the rear of Walker Evans. You can see no one is going to challenge Evans. He is going to take the double, as he is going to win both Class 8 and the Manufacturer's Challenge here at the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships in Anago, Wisconsin. The truck has taken a beating, but Walker Evans has come out in front. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, today is in Crandon, Wisconsin for the third round of the S.O.D.A World Series of Off-Road Racing. It's the Chevrolet Spring Run. And weather conditions are absolutely ideal. 80 degrees. Humidity is a little on the sticky side, but a nice northwesterly 15-mile-an-hour breeze as we take a look at this layout.
Marty, we talked about the fast tracks. This is the fastest one of all the tracks that we do. Oklahoma Land Rush start. Very important to get down to that first right-hand corner. Fastest corner in all the racetracks we do. Probably 70, 80 miles an hour around there. If you miss that corner, you're going to Parsons Pond.
Two areas that you can pass, the first one being at the gravel pit.
That's right. That's a sharp left-hand corner. We see a lot of pads in there. And then another hairpin back up toward the start-finish line.
And then the long straightaway on the backstretch leading to the final turn, the other key passing zone.
That's exactly right, Marty. Those are the key areas for getting around this racetrack, and the passing points are the most critical.
And if you can't pass, you can't win, because this is absolutely the fastest layout on the tour. Now, we showed you earlier on the onboard camera systems just how much mud and stones get thrown up into the drivers' faces. Well, Ivan took some time earlier to go behind the scenes and take a look at how these guys protect their vision. Ivan?
One of the biggest problems these guys have on these short tracks is visibility, being able to see, traveling 80, 90 miles an hour, rocks, mud being thrown up in their face. Remember, there's no windshield, and the trucks are literally feet in front of them. Let me show you some of the top drivers use. This is Scotty Taylor's helmet. Scotty uses just a closed-face helmet, takes a rag with him, and just wipes this shield off as it gets dirty. This is Johnny Greaves' helmet. Johnny uses what we call tear-offs. These little sheets right here, when they get filled up with mud, he just pulls it away and goes to the next one. The latest technology, Jeff Doerr's helmet here, they use what they call a clear ray. It's a little electric motor on this side that reels these clear sheets across his helmet, across his face. When it fills up, he just hits this button. Clean shield. I think if I were racing out here, this would be the helmet I would choose.
Wait a minute, he's the Iron Man. You don't use any helmet.
Give me some sunglasses. All I need.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready for the Manufacturer's Production Challenge, and there are some trucks that aren't going to make it. Let's go to Rick Johnson.
A lot of interesting things have happened. Walker Evans blew a transmission. They've changed it. He's ready to roll. Scott Taylor blew a head gasket 2 laps from the end of Class 8. They've changed the complete motor. He's ready to race as well. Jack Flannery had some ignition problems. He had to drop out of Class 4. They've changed that, done some fine-tuning on the fuel injection. He's ready to race. Kevin Probst, on the other hand, blew a motor. He doesn't have a spare. He's not going to make that Manufacturer's Challenge.
Rick, thanks for the update. This is what the Manufacturer's Challenge is all about. Production pickup, 2- or 4-wheel drive. Must conform to the class rules and must have competed in a class race.
So as we get ready for the Chevrolet starting field, the big happy smile on Jeff Doerr. He won in Class 4. Scott Taylor will be back behind the wheel of his Ford in the number 800. And Jack Flannery looking to avenge his loss in Class 4 in front of his hometown audience. Scott Douglas in the Dodge. He'll be in the 807. Also in the field, Jerry Bundy in the number 316, as well as Walker Evans, looking to come back to avenge what was a disappointing finish for him in Class 8 action.
Well, Marty, as we look at the rest of the field, this has always been the big race, the Manufacturer's Challenge, 2-wheel drive versus 4-wheel drive. If it's a dry track, the 2-wheel drive is going to have the advantage. 19 trucks in this field. The guy that gets down to that first corner first, especially in 2-wheel drive, is going to have an advantage.
Well, we're ready for the start of this race, and you said it, 19 vehicles. Turn 1 doesn't have enough room for all 19.
No, it doesn't, Marty. They're off.
Green flag flies, and we are underway here in the Manufacturer's Production Challenge in Crandon, Wisconsin. Sit back. We'll hold on with you. Far so good. Can everybody make it through? It looks like we're going to survive turn 1.
Boy, I tell you what, that's amazing to get all those trucks through there in that corner, believe me.
Jack Flannery has the lead. Second place is Walker Evans, and it looks like son Jamie Flannery is in third. Now you're on board with Scott Taylor, and Scott did not get a good start.
He did not again. Jamie did get a very good start. I was really surprised with that.
Taylor well back in the pack as he is about 13th at this point.
Boy, as you can see now, the problem that Scott Taylor's going to have is the mud, the dirt, everybody's in his way, so you just got to get a start here at this track.
There goes Flannery, father, then Walker Evans, son Jamie. There is the 413 of Steve Kelly, then Jeff Doerr, and then Scott Douglas. So there you see the top 6, and boy, I'll tell you, Jack has got that thing fixed, and it's running.
He does. That's 4-wheel drive, and I tell you what, he does know how to get around this racetrack.
On board with Walker Evans, you're looking back at third place out the back of his Dodge. So Jamie Flannery is closing on Walker a little bit.
Jamie's doing a good job. You know, he's a young driver. He's aggressive. He's really, really, really doing well.
Look at the rooster tail of dirt thrown up by Walker Evans on that fast straightaway. Now you're on board out the front of Jack Flannery Chevrolet down that long front straightaway. Let's go along for the ride.
Oh, Marty, you've got a miss. Can you hear it?
Does sound like it's not as sweet a song. Oh, and Scott Douglas is spun back at the entry to the front straightaway.
I couldn't see what happened, if somebody bumped him or he got sideways. I couldn't tell exactly what happened there.
There's the battle for fourth place, Steve Kelly and Jeff Doerr. They went at it in the Class 4 race. They're going after each other again. Down through turn 2. Kelly looks a little high, but he manages to close down.
Kelly keeps missing the line there. Jeff Doerr knows that he's got to get underneath him.
On that drop-off there into the straightaway that leads you down into the gravel pit. And it looks like Kelly gets on the brakes a little bit earlier.
He is. He's braking early, and like I say, Jeff Doerr's been around this track some. Here he's going to just get underneath it. Hopefully, he's not going to get by him.
So Kelly over the jump, followed closely by Doer. This is a great battle for 4th place on the racetrack around what will be the final turn and the finish line area. And Steve Kelly controls 4th place for another lap.
Really frustrating back where Jeff's at now because these rocks, these 4-wheel drive cars that Steve Kelly drives is throwing a tremendous amount of rocks out.
This is the battle. There is Scott Douglas. He's in 8th place trying to track down Mark Seidler, and he is in 7th. And Seidler doing a good job so far. On board with Scott Taylor.
Oh, we got somebody really smoking.
Can't tell who it is from that. That looks like Dave Hockers. Dave Hockers right in front of Scott Taylor, and he can't get around him. Oh, and Scott Taylor is up in smoke.
Well, I tell you what, that black cloud, he cannot get rid of it.
Scott Taylor did so well in the Class 8 race, is now out of this race here in the Manufacturers Production Challenge at the Chevrolet Spring Run. Stay with it. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, Rick Johnson is pit side. Let's get an interval between our leader, Jack Flannery, here in the Manufacturers Production Challenge. That is lap traffic, the second vehicle coming through the screen. There is 2nd place Walker Evans, and the gap is now 7.45 seconds. And with only a few laps remaining, that is a lot of ground. There's Jamie Flannery and Jeff Doer. Doer, during the commercial break, got around Steve Kelly and is now knocking on the door for 3rd.
I wouldn't doubt that Jeff Doer is the quickest man on the track. It looks to me like Marty. He's really running.
So he has got 3rd place in mind and Jamie Flannery in his sights. Flannery a little high there as they come off that drop-off onto the straightaway to the gravel pit.
That's the difference in the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive. Jeff Doer in the 4-wheel drive, Jamie in the 2-wheel drive.
Oh,
he's out in the loose. You can't do that.
Boy, you get out in that loose marbly area on the cushion and you are in trouble, and he is in big trouble.
Especially with 2-wheel drive. You can afford to do that with a 4-wheel drive.
Now, the one advantage is if he can stick his nose in here, he can get the inside line and he can hold onto the corner. But Doer is going to do it on the outside, but he's now out in the loose marbles, and it's going to be a drag race, and the winner's going to be Jeff Doer.
That's that 4-wheel drive. Just pulls in the loose or the hard. That's a good thing about him.
Final lap. Let's get the interval one more time. Lap traffic again between Jack Flannery and Walker Evans. He's got it down to 4.51, but I don't think he's got enough time.
I don't think he's got enough time, Marty. He's going to have to go a lot quicker than that to get him in this race.
Jack Flannery with only 2 more turns to negotiate. Dave Hockers is there in second, or in the second position. He's actually lapped traffic. Walker Evans is going to have a difficult time getting around him.
And you can bet that Jack Flannery's keeping an eye on Walker. He's not going to let that happen, I don't believe, Marty.
Flannery over the final jump, into the final turn, not gassing it all that hard. He knows he's got the race won. Jack Flannery avenges his loss in Class 4 by winning the Manufacturers Production Challenge here at Crandon, Wisconsin, before his hometown fans at the Chevrolet Spring Run. Stay with us. We'll talk to our winner after this. Run. No points are involved here. This is solely for bragging rights, and the rights go to Jack Flannery as he outlasts Walker Evans. Ivan Stewart's in victory lane with our winner. Ivan, it's all yours.
Well, Jack Flannery, I'll tell you that there always was the big bet, can the Class 4 beat a Class 8 on a dry track? And by golly, I think the day has come of age that Class 4 has made their mark. What do you think?
I think it really has, Ivan. It was a dry track here. In fact, it was a little bit too tight for me. My tires was hooking a little bit more than I really wanted to. I was expecting a little bit wetter track in that, but I got to agree with you. You know, these four-wheel drives we got here in S.O.D.A series, they're just some of the fastest short course trucks I believe in the world, and I think it's just showing up. When you beat Walker Evans, I think you beat just as big as man as that there is in off-road racing. I'll be honest with you, my truck wasn't running just quite right, and my motor was running a little bit warm. But yeah, well, we watch each other like a hawk. We know where each other's at almost every turn.
ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage today, is in Luxembourg, Wisconsin for round number 4 of the S.O.D.A World Series of off-road racing. It's the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Taking a look at the race conditions, we have definitely got a chance of rain. In fact, it is already starting to rain, and the chances of it getting harder are about 100%, according to the weatherman. Let's take a look at the Luxembourg Layout, Ivan.
Well, Marty, this starts off on the Kewanee Fairgrounds Oval. Good start, real tight first left-hand corner, back around, back in this tight section on the right-hand side of the course. It's going to be tight back there, really hard to pass. The passing is going to be back in this long sweeper back to the backside.
And this is what happens from time to time in off-road racing. You have to go back out and pick up your drive shaft and head back to pit lane. You know, getting your car set up right, or your truck in this case, is always a key in any form of racing. Ivan Stewart talks about suspension today.
This is Scott Taylor's big Ford Class 8 truck, and suspension technology has always been a big part of off-road racing. This particular truck has got 20 inches of wheel travel. A stock truck's got just about 6 inches of wheel travel. This shock absorber costs you just about $900. A stock shock costs you about $35. If you don't have this kind of technology, racing on a track out here with this caliber drivers, you're not going to be able to win races. You've got to have this type of technology.
Well, the technology of the weather, the rain came back, so racing was held off in the Manufacturers Challenge until the following day, and that's Jeff St. Peter being pulled out of the line. The sun is out, the track is drying. Here's what the challenge is all about.
Two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. Production pickup must conform to the class rules and must have competed in a class race.
Now, this is for bragging rights only. There are no points at stake. Let's take a look at the Chevrolet starting field. Kevin Probst in the 499, one of the Chevy contingent. Scott Douglas, who won in Class 8, will be in the Dodge, number 807. Jack Flannery in his Chevrolet in the number 435. Has he solved his problem? Dave Hockers in the 802, one of the Ford contingent. As well, Steve Kelly in the 413. He's another member of the Dodge Army. And then Walker Evans in the 817, rounding out the 3 Dodges here in the championship. Scott Taylor will be in the Ford, number 800, part of the Rough Rider contingent. Jeff Dorr, number 400, also will be driving a Ford today. Rest of the starting field, as you look down the line, Rick Johnson has caught up with Jeff St. Peter, who was pushed out of the race. We'll find out why Jeff will not be able to make the starting grid.
Jeff, a tough break. What happened? We had the truck fired up. It seemed to be running real well, but it sounded like the starter was engaged in the flywheel yet, and everything just locked up, and the truck died, and we can't get it started.
So a tough break for Jeff St. Peter, and the green flag flies, and racing is underway in the Manufacturers Challenge.
Ooh, look at Jack Flannery. He got a good start on the left-hand side of the screen there, Marty.
On board with Scott Douglas. And as you can see, things have dried out quickly. It's amazing what sitting out the rest of the day will do. Whoa, contact with Dave Hockers as those two come together, and we've got an all kind of a jam up here into the first turn. What a difference a day makes. We've got dust now.
Holy mackerel, we sure do.
Difficult for any driver in that to be able to see. There is first, second, and third, Jeff Dorr, Kevin Probst, and third place is Jack Flannery. Oh, Flannery's got body parts flying all over the place.
He certainly got into several guys getting up there, I'll guarantee you.
And it is amazing how much faster these guys can go when they can get the power down to the ground instead of the mud. Jeff Dorr, your leader. Second place, Kevin Probst. Jack Flannery, third.
Interesting to note, dry track, first 3 trucks, four-wheel drive. Scott Taylor is running 4th right now, but let's see if he can pull up through the field. I think the four-wheel drives might have an advantage on this tight track, Marty.
Very tight and twisty through that section. Probst trying to close in, but boy, how much can he see with all that dust flying?
That makes it tough, let me tell you. You're always afraid that somebody's going to tip over in front of you.
There is Scott Taylor in 4th place. And then Dave Hockers, Kurt Leduc, Scott Douglas, and Walker Evans finds himself back in 8th. It has not been a very good weekend for Walker Evans.
No, this has been pretty much disastrous for Walker. He needs points too, Marty.
Now that's Hockers, Leduc, and Scott Douglas. And it is Leduc, a little contact with Hockers, pushes Hockers off course, and he takes over the position. And boy, he loses about 3 positions with that.
He did one little mistake in a dry track like this. These guys are good enough, they're going to come right by you. You just can't make those kind of mistakes with this caliber of drivers.
Well, I have a feeling, Ivan, that Mr. Hockers is going to blame that on Mr. Leduc more than his error, as we look at Jeff Dorr and Kevin Probst running 1st and 2nd, and Jack Flannery, as we go on board, trying to reel in these two. He's got a good line there.
He does. Cut inside. Let's see if he can hold it. big thing is to hold that tight line and to see if he can accelerate up the straightaway.
There's contact between the two of them. So Probst and Flannery get together, and you can see some more damage on Jack Flannery's Chevrolet. Oh, and Probst goes all the way around as Flannery takes second place.
That's unusual for Kevin. I would guess that he's got another kind of a mechanical problem in that truck.
And that is Scott Taylor taking third. As you saw, Kevin Probst still trying to turn his Chevy around. Let's get another look at it, Ivan. Take us through it.
Yeah, it looks like Jack just got underneath him, but I'm going to guess that, see how sideways Kevin is? He's got some kind of a problem, I'd guess, Marty.
So the contact is heavy, but both able to continue. And now Jack Flannery has reeled in Jeff Dorr. So maybe he has solved those problems. He's got the body panel there, as that is Scott Douglas's Dodge trying to hold off Walker Evans.
And Walker comes right up beside him.
Boy, this is a great view. And he does. He holds off Walker Evans.
Anytime you've got that big Dodge and Walker Evans behind you, you've got problems. You better be doing some driving.
And Walker tries the other side, not able to make it stick, as Douglas able to hold on to the position.
There's about 25 years of off-road experience right there, Marty. That's all over the back of Scott Douglas.
Now that is the battle for, we think, 7th place at this point. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll take you to the conclusion of the Manufacturer's Challenge at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge from Luxembourg, Wisconsin. Back at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge, I'm Marty Reed along with Ivan Stewart. Rick Johnson is in pit lane, and this is the battle for the lead between Jeff Dorr and Jack Flannery. Whoa, Dorr going wide. Can Flannery duck under?
Well, again, he remembers that last move from earlier, and he tried it again with Jeff, and he can't quite make it work.
Now there is Scott Taylor. He is back in 3rd place. That is lap traffic between he and the 2 leaders.
You can hear Scott trying to get the power down. Just can't get that power down. 4-wheel drives have got the advantage. There's no doubt about it, Marty.
Jeff Dorr holding on. Now this is the battle for 7th. That's Walker Evans just out the left side of Scott Douglas's Dodge. These are a pair of Dodges going after each other, and Walker Evans makes the pass, but can he hold on to the position? Little contact. Yep, there goes a fender.
Oh, great racing here, Marty.
These guys, they got plenty of body panels. It's a good thing because they are going after each other. Remember, this is just for bragging rights. There are no points involved, and they put on a great show for the fans, and this is a drag race down that straightaway. And again, Scott Douglas gets back around Walker Evans.
He is not going to be intimidated by Walker. That's great. I love to see it.
Look at the balance of these 2 trucks as they come barreling around. On board with Jack Flannery. That's Jeff Dorr now right in front of him. We've got 2 great battles going on. This one's for the lead. That is Dave Hawkers in front, and he is a lap down if these 2 get around.
This could play a big part in Jack getting around Jeff Dorr here. It looks like he's going to get around the outside, Marty.
And all of a sudden you see clear track, which would lead you to believe that you're absolutely right, Ivan. There is Jack Flannery in front of Jeff Dorr.
The old master uses the lap traffic to take advantage of Jeff Dorr there, and it worked for him.
John Conitzer now a lap vehicle as Jack Flannery coming around John and making the pass, and Jeff Dorr as John moves over nicely, does the right thing to let those guys continue their race. And coming out of the mist of the dust is Scott Taylor. He's in 3rd.
You can hear the engine rev up. This is what's real critical for a driver in 2-wheel drive, to barely mash that throttle down, get as much track as you can. Real frustrating.
Hard to come off those corners and get the power down when the track is getting so slick out there. We are on the white flag lap. So Jack Flannery, who had problems in Class 4, looks to be the man to beat here in the Manufacturer's Challenge.
Look at all the body panels. I can't believe the amount of body panels that are torn up in this. This is an awful tight track, though, Marty. It's one of the reasons. It's just hard to get by each other.
Back to that battle with Scott Douglas and Walker Evans. Where is Scott? We're out back. Scott Douglas has gotten back around Walker Evans. You're looking out the back of Walker's Dodge. And are we going to see, yes, Scott Douglas goes wide and Walker ducks underneath. So these 2 still going after each other.
It looks like he blew it there. He got out wide. It's pretty hard to do. When you get that far behind Walker Evans, Walker's got a clear field now. Really going to be tough to get it there for Scott Douglas.
Remember, this is a battle for position well back from the leaders, as the 2-wheel guys have just not had enough to work with against the 4-wheel drive vehicles. And there is Jack Flannery as he continues to lead by about 5 truck lengths over Jeff Dorr.
Now, he's lost about 300 pounds of weight, I believe, Mark, with all the body panels gone.
So that's an 1,100-pound weight loss since the Class 4 race when he had all that mud up underneath. But Jack Flannery, your winner, and whoa, look at the top of the screen. There is Scott Douglas. So Scott not going to make it to the finish line as he breaks just on the last lap. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Well, let's take a look at the final results here at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Behind Jack Flannery, Jeff Dorr, and Scott Taylor, Steve Kelly and Walker Evans rounded out the top 5. Then there is 6 through 10. Let's go down to victory lane. Ivans with our winner.
For Jack Flannery, I got to tell you, that's one of the best races, if not the best race I've ever seen in off-road racing. What a fantastic job.
Yeah, it truly was. It was, you know, I worked my heart out for that one. And like I said there a second ago, I dedicated this one to my crew because they have literally changed this truck from motor all the way through the drivetrain, all the way back. And you can have the best tires in the world like Goodyear and the best trucks in the world like Chevrolet, but if you don't have a good crew, I just can't get in this winner's circle.
Did you get frustrated at all? You played Jeff Dorr, I thought, extremely well. You were patient. You waited for traffic, and you played him. Were you frustrated at all? Did you ever start thinking about taking a chance maybe you shouldn't have?
Well, no, he was running a hard enough pace where I thought I was running about all I could. I figured one or the other would break, but that wasn't happening, and I was just trying to run him in the ground and maybe stir him up a little bit there in front of me, and I was just waiting for that right time, and when I seen him tucking behind that guy, I took my chance, went around wide, being a four-wheel drive, and I knew that one in front of him was an 8, and it worked out today. Maybe tomorrow it won't.
Well, it is amazing how much fun the sport of off-road racing can be when the sun comes out and you've got a dry track to race on it. You saw one of the great manufacturer challenge races of all time. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, today is in Crandon, Wisconsin for the 25th running of the Chevrolet World Championship. Take a look at that crowd as we take a look also at the race conditions. 65 beautiful degrees, only a 20% chance of rain. This is absolutely ideal conditions.
Great racetrack we got to. This is the granddaddy, Marty, the big one. Oklahoma land rush start. You've got to get to that first corner first. 2-mile track, lots of speed. You better bring some horsepower.
Yes, and they put up a fence around Parsons Pond because it was named after Dave Parsons after he took a swim several years ago. So we don't have to worry about anybody dropping into the pond. Now, this is the parade that they held downtown. You got to remember, Crandon, Wisconsin is a community of 2,000 people, and they support this race. In fact, they have built it into their trademark, and they have done a great job over the 25 years, and this was their celebration, and this was my favorite, the Bedrock Mobile. I mean, look, what a great piece of work. Take a look at this capacity crowd as we're getting ready for the last race of the day. You know, we talk about the punishment that these trucks take. Well, Ivan's going to take us behind the scenes and show us some of the drivetrain components. Ivan?
You always hear me talk about what it takes to win these races out here in Class 8 and Class 4 especially. I want to show you some of the drivetrain components these guys are using. They all use an automatic transmission. This one's a Hydromatic 3-speed used out of Jack Flannery's Class 4 truck. This is the rear end housing. They use a spool in the rear end. This is the spool right here. This is what connects the 2 rear tires together. This is the piece that makes it so hard for these guys to turn in the mud. Both tires drive together, called a spool. This is a stock axle, about a 31 spline axle out of a truck. This is a 45 spline axle out of Scott Douglas's truck. This is the kind of axle, this is the kind of technology it's going to take to win races out here with these guys.
Well, let's get ready now for the Manufacturer's Challenge. These are production pickups. You've already seen them. They must run in their class race. They're 2- and 4-wheel drives. They must conform to the class rules. In the Chevrolet starting field, brand new Class 4 champion, Greg Gerlach. He'll be in the 402 from Dakota, Minnesota. Walker Evans, our Class 8 king for 1994. He'll be in the Dodge. Jeff Dorr also in the starting field. He'll be in one of the Fords. He's from Rockford, Illinois. Scott Taylor from Belvedere, Illinois, another one of the Ford contingent. And then leading Chevy Thunder, well, it'll be Jack Flannery looking for revenge here in the Manufacturer's Challenge in his hometown of Crandon. Son Jamie will give him double-barreled action. He'll be in the number 815. Jack Heitman. Heitman, 43 years old, from Marquette, Michigan. He'll be in another one of the Fords. And here is the rest of the starting field, and this is going to be a huge, huge turn one. 26 trucks in all diving for that first corner.
Hey, Marty, you know what's going to be interesting? These guys have either won their class championship or they lost it. They no longer have to save their trucks. They can just go out and race and have a good time.
Have a good time. I like the way you say that. This could be a holy terror going into turn one as the green flag flies and we are on board with Walker Evans. Look at the acceleration.
You talking about horsepower and throwing dirt.
Boy, he is on the inside there, and Kevin Probst. Probst out in front of Walker, and Steve Kelly looks like he's on third, and then is that Jack Flannery on the outside? Look out, don't get into that. Wow, that was awfully close to that fencing.
That was awful wide. If they're closer to that fence than I'd want to get, I'll tell you.
Look at that. Everybody made it through turn one. On board with Scott Douglas. Douglas, getting into Gerald Foster, and Foster goes over. So Gerald Foster takes some contact as Scott Douglas not able to get on the binders in time and gets into him.
I think it was an easy rollover, though. I don't think it was a major, shouldn't be a big major problem for Gerald.
Hopefully the crews will get him back out and he'll be able to continue. Right now, as that was going on, Walker Evans did get around. Kevin Probst has taken the early lead here.
Oh, this is good. Two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive.
Look at the view as you have got Kevin Probst all over your back bumper. And what Kevin Probst is seeing is a lot of dirt being thrown up by Walker Evans.
It might be a little smart for him to stay off, be a little patient. Now it pays to be patient sometimes. Get off the side, let him go. Just hang with him.
Yeah, right. I've seen you drive some of these stadium races, Ivan. You don't wait. You stick your nose right down in there.
Well, I didn't say I was the smartest off-road race car driver.
Down the straightaway one more time. Walker Evans got the hand. Oh, look at that. When those trucks carry all four wheels, that is so pretty.
It is beautiful. I just love to watch them.
This is what truly a lot of fun for us because, like you said, Ivan, the championships are decided. This one's for bragging rights. You don't have to save anything. This is the last race of the season for us. Everybody can let it hang out. Whoa, Steve Kelly, he's going to end it on a sour note as he has lost fire in his Dodge and parked it.
Walker Evans has got a right front flat tire, Marty.
Yep, you can see it shaking. Good eyes, Ivan. And that's why he is now no longer in the lead. So, boy, can you imagine if that would have happened in the Class 8 race?
Boy, it's a good thing.
More smoke coming from Jack Flannery's motor. Remember, he had problems in the Class 4 championship. Right now, Flannery has gotten past Walker Evans. Walker barely going to make it around. He's got a long way to go to pit lane.
He's going to be down the wheel by the time he gets there. A lot of people don't realize that there's big rocks out here. I mean, there's some nasty ones.
Nasty enough that if you ever get hit by one, it could just literally knock you cold. I mean, there are some huge ones. And boy, Walker's got a handful because he's still a good, probably another 3/4 of a mile until he gets back to pit lane.
He is. It's going to be a long drive for him. Long day right now.
So he's nursing his way around the racetrack. Jack Flannery there going by. Let's see who else has gotten by. That's Kurt Ledoux in third. Then fourth looks like Jeff Dorr. And fifth looks like it's Scott Taylor. As Scott is right behind Jeff Dorr. Boy, this is a great shot as those three are diving for that last corner.
Hear the engine RPM come up, Marty, as they just crest the top of that hill. The truck leaves the ground a little bit, but it's not enough to come off with problem. Hear the engine come up and then go back down again as it gets a good bite with those tires.
Kevin Probst out in front. Got a good-sized lead over second place Jack Flannery. Then here is third place. Dorr has gotten around Ledoux and Taylor. So there is third, fourth, and fifth. Don't go anywhere. You won't miss a thing, we promise. It's the Chevrolet World Championships, the final race of the year. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, Rick Johnson back with you, and we've got a new leader. Jack Flannery has taken over. I know we promised you wouldn't miss anything. Well, you haven't. That's what happened. Kevin Probst just slowed down and has pulled over and is out of this race. So another sad ending for his season. Everybody wants to do well in that last race because it does. It carries over momentum.
It really does. And he's had so much trouble. He just, they get the car working good, and he has a little problem. Keeps putting him out.
Jeff Dorr is now second. Kurt Ledoux is third. Scott Taylor fourth. And you just saw Scott Douglas flying by. And
smoking, by the way. Did you notice?
No, I didn't. Good eyes. This is on board with Scott Taylor. Whoa, coming across the bow. That's Kurt Ledoux.
See, these guys have all got different lines. This is down the long straightaway runoff area here. And the guys have all got different areas they like to be in.
So Taylor looks like he has gotten around Ledoux for third place. And yes, he has. So you get the view from outside, and you can see exactly what Scott Taylor knows already transpired. He is in third. Kurt Ledoux is in fourth. and then Scott Douglas is in 5th.
Interesting note, Marty, that the Class 8 or the two-wheel drive trucks are obviously going to be a little bit lighter, and the Class 4's got to carry a transfer case. They're going to be heavy. Uh-oh, we got big problems here.
I can see the smoke now.
We got major problems.
I'm afraid Scott Douglas. Oh, and Greg Gerlach has got, what, that looks like a brake that is locked up.
It really does.
And literally is just melting. Now this is the battle for 6th. That's Jimmy Crowder and Jamie Flannery. So those two going after each other. And obviously a little contact somewhere for Jamie. He's lost the quarter panel.
The point I was going to make earlier, Marty, was the fact that the 8s are lighter and they're a little more agile, where they got four-wheel drive pulling you, but they're heavier. So two different battles going here.
Sometimes it's an advantage to have the four-wheel drive, sometimes two. And right now, there is Jack Flannery as we're back up front. He's in first place now as he has taken over, as Kevin Probst has gone out with another problem, and on board again with Scott Taylor. Taylor currently in 3rd, trying to close down on Jeff Dorr, and there is Dorr in his gun sights. And he's going to try that inside line.
Heading down the gravel. Whoops, Jeff gets very wide, and it's going to cost him.
Dorr looks like he's lost front-wheel drive.
You think so? I didn't see that.
Oh, no, look out, Flannery! Oh, my goodness!
Ooh, man.
Flannery
Hit that pole hard.
The white flag would have been coming out on this lap. You see what Jack Flannery sees. Let's go through this again. What happened?
Well, it looks like the throttle stuck or something. It's hard to say, Marty. I can't tell if he just got out of control, the throttle stuck, or what. Got up on two wheels. That's the problem. He tries to correct it. Didn't come out of the throttle. Corrects it, saves the rollover, but hits the pole.
Oh, my. And that is a brand new finish line that they just put up this year. I think they're going to have to replace it, but it did its job. It gave way.
Boy, I hope he's all right, I'll tell you.
Let's take another look on board with Jack Flannery. Hold on.
I don't think the throttle's picking up. Here's the throttle up on two wheels. It's...
And then you roll over, and you get a mouthful of dirt, and luckily you get out, and you're okay.
He's moving around.
That's the best news. Yes, there he is. So, gosh, this is probably the worst year Jack Flannery's ever had at Crane. Look at him shaking his head. He's just wondering, my goodness.
Hometown race, and he smacks the pole right from the start-finish line.
While things end on a down note for Jack Flannery, they're going to end on an uptick for Scott Taylor, as he has got one turn to negotiate, and he will squarely look at the checkered flag. And I guarantee you he isn't going to go around that corner too fast, as he sees the end result of Jack Flannery's accident, and he wins the Manufacturers Challenge here at Crandon, Wisconsin at the Chevrolet World Championship. Stay with us. We'll talk through our winner and close out the '94 season after this. Well, there you see the end result of the collision between Jack Flannery and the finish line pole. The upright is bent, and so is the finish line banner across the top. That is the damage on Jack's truck, as it also rolled over, and they're inspecting that. Here are the final results in the Manufacturers Challenge. Scott Taylor, Kurt Ledoux in 2nd. He got around Jeff Dorr, who was having problems there at the end. Jamie Flannery in 4th, and there is the rundown through the top 10. Let's check in with a very happy Scott Taylor.
Well, you know what? I could feel the truck after a lap working 3 times better than yesterday, and I was catching traffic and passing traffic, and the truck was working good, and I wasn't feeling any problems, any glitches, and I just kept it as fast as I could run it. And I started picking cars off, and I noticed my radio guys radioed to me, I'm moving up. They said I was in 3rd. I passed Dorr, I was in 2nd, and then Flannery was in front of me, and then all of a sudden Flannery wasn't there. It was kind of a gimme from him, but the toughest survive, the best wins.
So, Ivan, it brings us to a close of another off-road season.
Well, I tell you what, Marty, thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate you using me. I love doing this and can't wait till next year.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Rick Johnson as well down pitside. Thank you to everyone at S.O.D.A, the promoters, the racers. We've had a great time. For all of us here at ESPN, we hope you've enjoyed it as well. We've enjoyed bringing it to you, and we look forward to bringing it to you again next year right here on ESPN Speed World. This is Marty Reed. So long, everybody.